Steeler Nation, welcome to episode 81 of the Steeler Culture Podcast. We are underway just a little over a month towards Steelers training camp down in Latrobe as we are edging closer towards the 2024 NFL regular season. And when it comes to that, one of the things that all of us love to enjoy, all of us love to watch, is the growth of some individual players and an increased role from some of these guys when they come into their second year as they come into further into their Steeler career.
Absolutely, man. We are a month and some change away from training camp. Rookie minicamp is over, OTAs is over, and now mandatory minicamp is over. So all we got to look forward to now, it'll be here before you know it, is training camp in Latrobe. And some of these guys, a lot of these guys are going to be getting a great opportunity and an increased role from the team, from our Pittsburgh Steelers, man. And what we mean by that is these guys are going to be giving an opportunity, a little bit more dependability from the Steelers. These are guys that we think the Steelers are going to lean on to see if they got what it takes to be dependable pieces for our team.
Indeed.
See an increased role, see some playing time, and be some impact players, man. Be some underrated, quiet weapons for this exciting Steelers team.
And that's as far as starters go, and as far as depth players go, just as much.
Right. So we're going to start off on the offensive side, and of course in the wide receiver room. Calvin Austin III, he is technically coming into his second season as a healthy wide receiver for the Steelers, man.
Second year playing, although will be his third year as a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Well, yeah, technically his second year.
Yeah.
And typically we've seen along the line, receivers tend to make a jump in their second year. And I do consider this his second year. So Calvin Austin, there is a lot of praise of him coming out of the camps we've already seen throughout the offseason after the draft. Zach Asani couldn't be any more outstanding when it comes to praising Calvin Austin III.
Yeah.
He's considering him, saying he's having a great camp. He's a great worker. He wants to work. He wants to learn. He's having outstanding performance, and he hope he transitions that into training camp and ultimately, hopefully, onto the football field. Now, Calvin Austin is a name that won't be a wide receiver too. He won't be a starter or anything. He could be a starting slot weapon in case of anything. But I think Calvin Austin can be a very dangerous weapon for the Steelers. I still feel that way. We saw glimpses of that last year when he finally got to see some playing time. He had a very solid camp. He had a great preseason. And I know there were a lot of great things that come out of that and didn't transfer over. But Calvin Austin is just someone that has been underutilized. And, of course, as we know, Matt Canada's scheme was not built to succeed.
No, it was not, obviously. I mean, just watching the games, that was very evident.
Everybody was underutilized.
Of course, Calvin Austin in that regard, too. Last year, he only had 17 receptions for 180 yards, the longest being a 72-yard touchdown he had against the Raiders on Sunday Night Football, which was his only touchdown that year.
Right.
Receiving touchdown.
As well as he had a touchdown in the Bills playoff game. But, you know, Calvin Austin, I think, man, when you think of Calvin Austin, you clearly think of speed. He's twitchy. He's fast. He has that explosive factor. Arthur Smith and the Steelers offense need to use that. Obviously, there is still a concern at wide receiver. We have Pickens, who's proven. Roman Wilson, I think, will get the chance to be the receiver, too. We hope he takes it and hope he runs with it. But they're going to give Calvin Austin the chance to see if he can be that dependable depth piece at wide receiver, because we don't really have that. But Calvin Austin could very well showcase that he can have a role. He could be some impact player for this offense. There are certain packages, there are certain plays we could scheme up where Calvin Austin can be a threat for opposing defenses. Even if he's not getting targets, even if he's not making plays in the deep ball or in jet sweeps or in any kind of packages, any kind of plays they want to scheme Austin up where he can get the ball and use his speed, use his yak ability, use all those traits to the Steelers' success. Even if he's not getting targets, the fact that teams could see his presence on the field, like he comes onto the field and they see that he's in the lineup, now defenses are going to fear his speed. Because speed kills, man. Speed is a very, it's one of those things that defenses just can't really game plan against.
No, they can't.
It's just one of those things where speed is a dangerous factor. And obviously the Steelers haven't had that in the wide receiver room in a while. They got Calvin Austin. They just added more with Roman Wilson. And, of course, Quez Watkins and the guys they added in the wide receiver room. But Calvin Austin is going to be getting a rich opportunity.
Yeah, a huge opportunity. Him coming into technically his second year as far as playing for the Steelers. this is where, no pun intended, he's got to run with it. This is a big opportunity. This is a big chance for him to really showcase the potential that he was able to showcase back in his college days at Memphis.
Yes, and dude, I mean, from what I'm hearing, from what Asani is really praising him over, he has grown a lot from last year. Now, of course, Asani is new to this coaching staff, his first year as a Steeler, but seeing how he's working with what many people would say is a little bit of a weak wide receiver room just based on name value or dependability or even stat production in the past couple of years. And he's giving Calvin Austin all of this praise. That's good to hear from a guy like Calvin Austin to see how he's stepping his game up. Yeah. He didn't see a lot of playing time last year. He didn't see a lot of targets. He was very underutilized. Hopefully that's not the same this year, but if he can continue to work on his releases and his separation, his route running along with what he already possesses with speed and the explosive factor, he could be a dangerous weapon, man. Again, not a starter, not a wide receiver too. He doesn't have to be, but he could be a nice impact guy. Mm-hmm. He could be a secret weapon for this offense. And I think he's going to get an increased role because of who we have at wide receiver and who we have at OC and how he could scheme him up into the offense.
Yeah.
I think he should be given the chance to see if he can take this opportunity and showcase he can be, someone that we can lean on.
Indeed.
Before the Steelers even try to make a trade for a wide receiver, which could still happen, but not without giving Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin the chance to showcase what they can do.
Yeah, and another valuable thing about Calvin Austin is his experience with the team. He's the second most experienced wide receiver on the team after George Pickens.
Yeah.
So with his experience under the Steelers scheme, although it's a new, different coaching tree right now, with Zach Azzanni and Arthur Smith as the OC.
Well, it's a completely new scheme, but to add on what you just said, there is chemistry.
Yeah.
There is some chemistry there with the guys he has in the wide receiver room, the guys within the entire offensive formation, the entire offensive roster. So there is some communication there, which is a good thing. In fact, Roman Wilson has been saying that he views Calvin Austin as a veteran in the wide receiver room, which clearly
hence the experience.
Yeah, but clearly we don't have that. There's not really a leader. There's not any veteran experience there. I couldn't tell you who that would be. Van Jefferson probably, but Roman Wilson views Calvin Austin as that. So you see, like, Calvin Austin's like he's all about work. He's all about bettering himself and trying to be a playmaker for this team.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get an increased role, and we saw in certain small cases last year when he was used properly, he can have an impact. He can make big plays. We have seen it. We have watched it. It's about time the Steelers and Arthur Smith get this guy involved, and we see more of that.
Yeah.
Because I think he really possesses it, man. I think he's still a very quiet and underrated piece for this offense. I want to see more from Calvin Austin. Continuing on with the offensive side, man, clearly when you think of Arthur Smith and his scheme and what he's bringing to the Steelers, it's very tight end happy. He runs a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, very tight end heavy. So I'm not really going to put in specific name of one specific guy. Pat Freiermuth will see an increased role, and by that I mean he will see extra targets. He will see much better production than last year, staying he stays healthy.
I sure as hell hope so.
And, of course, Darnell Washington. I'll even put the entire tight end group in that entire category. The entire tight end group is going to get an increased role. Arthur Smith is very tight end heavy because of his run-heavy scheme, what he's run in the past with Tennessee and Atlanta, and he's going to continue to bring that with the Steelers. He has a good tight end group to work with. He has a very dependable target if he stays healthy in Freiermuth. He has a behemoth, a mammoth, a Sasquatch, and Darnell Washington.
Yeah, an athlete at that, too, for his size.
Yeah. He's got Michael Pruitt, who has massive experience.
You want to talk about chemistry, you can't get any better than Pruitt and Arthur Smith. I mean, wherever Smith goes, Pruitt just tags along. And, of course, can't forget about Connor Hayward, the Swiss Army knife over at tight end.
Yes, and Connor Hayward will get an increased role because one thing that Arthur Smith will bring back to the Steelers scheme, which we have been begging for a while, especially when it's in the most obvious positions, is I form. He will be running I form. To run I form, you need a fullback. Connor Hayward has fullback experience from his Michigan State days. He already has played tight end the last 2 years, so his blocking's already there. You line him right in front of Najee, right in front of Warren. Use him as a block up the middle. Use him swinging to the wide if you want. Connor Hayward can do it. So he's going to get an increased role massively, not just as a tight end, but he'll be used as kind of like that hybrid piece in those I-form formations.
And that's how he should be used. That's how it should be done, because I've always stated that when it comes to the NFL level, there's a role for Connor Hayward. Yes. I stated that when we first drafted them. There's a role for Connor Hayward. It's just up for the Steelers coaches and the offensive coordinator to figure that out. Arthur Smith could very well be that guy that can figure it out.
Right.
Connor Hayward can be a very valuable asset.
Yeah, I don't think he'll just primarily be used as like a blocker. When we mean hybrid, we mean like he can be a receiving threat. I think he's a dependable receiver. In his rookie season, he made some significant plays. He showed some strong hands when the ball was thrown to him. We saw none of that last year because Matt Canada doesn't know how to use any of his players. So now we have Arthur Smith. He's going to utilize this guy. He's going to utilize all his tight ends. Freiermuth will see a lot more production. He'll see a lot more targets. He'll see a massive increased role. Hopefully a lot more what we saw versus the Bengals last year, right? Freiermuth will see an increased role. Darnell Washington will see an increased role. He was used primarily as a blocker last year, and that will not change. But I'm hoping we can utilize him and his receiving threat 'ability, his height, his mismatch ability, especially in the red zone. I think that'd be a great red zone package where we can use his height, his 6'7", 6'8" ability in the red zone.
Yeah.
I want to see him up the middle. He's not the most fluid route runner. He's not the most fluid athlete. But, again, you got a guy of that size, throw it up. Darnell's going to make the catch.
That's a mismatch. I mean, why wouldn't any bright-minded OC try to get that involved?
Yeah, and, of course, Connor Hayward. All Arthur Smith has to do is look at the film from Connor Hayward in his rookie year and think of how can I get this guy involved. Mm-hmm. This is someone on the roster that's been, I don't want to say step down because he hasn't been. He's the third tight end, but he's someone that's just, again, I don't want to say buried. He's just not used a lot, and that's because of the players in front of him. But more so because not only is Arthur Smith tight end heavy, but we're also still slim at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Like we mentioned with Calvin Austin, we'll see an increased role. Pat Freiermuth should definitely see an increased role, not just because of the new scheme, but he could be that number 2, number 3 target along with Pickens and Wilson. Connor Hayward could see an increased role because he could be another dependable target. At least I hope so. I want to see more from Hayward as well. Mm-hmm. So the entire tight end room is going to see an increased role, which is a good thing. So get used to the wide receiver, or get used to the tight end room. Get used to seeing it a lot, and if it stays healthy, I'm liking what the potential is there. We got some playmakers in that room. We've seen it. We know what they can offer. It's time for them to execute on the field, and for Arthur Smith to give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
Use these guys. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Of course, when you think of increased roles, when you think of guys that are going to get more playing time this year, you got to think Nick Herbig. Dude, he had 191 snaps last year and still came away with 3 sacks.
And that was when he was the number 4 edge guy, just after Marcus Golden and obviously the starters Watt and Highsmith.
Yeah, he was the edge 4, and he got 3 sacks last year. One of them being against Seattle, where he forced our only turnover in that game. And in that same game, he only played 2 snaps.
Yeah,
and we all saw what he did in training camp. We all saw what he did in preseason. The guy was a stud. The guy is an explosive pass rusher.
The guy is a highlight reel. Even in very limited reps, the guy is a standout on that football field.
Right. I don't want to say he's like him because there's no such thing as another TJ Watt. There's only one and only. But he has Watt tendencies to him where he's just explosive, and in very limited opportunities, he's making plays. It's not just in the pass rush. It's in special teams. It's in the ground game. This guy is just a playmaker in general. Herbig is going to get an increased role. There's a reason they haven't brought back Marcus Golden. There's a reason they haven't really signed an edge 4 is because they're going to be giving Herbig the primary backup role at the edge spot to Herbig.
Yeah, there's a reason why they selected him in the 4th round of last year's draft. Not because his brother Nate is here as a backup offensive lineman, but because of the type of player he is. He was considered undersized coming out of Wisconsin, but he still uses that size to his advantage with how fluid he is, how quick he is, how shifty he is, and just how aggressive overall he is as a defensive player.
Yeah, because when you watch Herbig, dude, he's quick off the snap. He's quick at getting off his blocks. He uses his size to his advantage. He's always around the football. In the pass rush, he's always around the quarterback. He's always close within that that pocket range of the quarterback.
And you mentioned T.J. Watt like tendencies or similarities to his game. Well, he did come out of Wisconsin, so did T.J. Watt, and T.J. Watt has taken him under his wing ever since Herbig was in Wisconsin.
Kind of like an understudy.
A little bit.
As long as Highsmith, I mean, you can't ask for two better guys to learn under and to pair with than Watt and Highsmith. And you got a guy like Herbig, who is easily our best edge guy since, I would say, Highsmith's rookie year.
Yeah.
Or our best edge depth guy since Highsmith's rookie year.
Yeah, there's a reason. Again, there's a reason why they select him in the 4th round, for him to be that rotational number 3 edge piece behind the starters.
Yes.
And no doubt about it, this man should see an increased role on this team. Especially, I would say, significant reps. You know, take some of the load off Highsmith. Take some of the load off Watt.
Yes, because, listen, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all know how these games go. I love the roster, but we all know how the games are going to go. It's always going to be a heart attack at the end of the day, right? We got to keep these guys fresh when it matters the most, when it comes to clutch time, when it comes to 2-minute football, right? We got to keep our pass rush fresh. We got to keep the playmakers fresh. The way to do that is to get in the young guy in Nick Herbig, who didn't see a lot of time last year, but in the minimal amount of time, he made plays. Like I said, 3 sacks, I think 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah, he did.
You know, I mean, plays everywhere. So, yeah, he needs to see a significant amount of playing time. He needs to work, you know, on the opposite side of Watt, on the opposite side of Highsmith, and vice versa. You know, they just play Herbig. He needs more playing time because I feel like when Herbig is in there, I feel like we have a guy that can make a play. We have a depth piece that we can depend on. That's a good feeling to have.
It is.
So, drafting him in the 4th round and seeing what he did last year, incredible. Now he's coming to a 2nd year with a year under his belt. I can't wait to see what he does in year 2, man.
I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his future. I'm excited to see him get a true opportunity as that rotational guy.
Yeah, and another guy I'm very excited about remaining on the defense and remaining on with the Wisconsin Badgers is Keanu Benton, Nick Herbig's
college teammate.
Not only college teammate, but now pro teammate as well.
Yeah.
The reason we put Keanu Benton in here is because he will now officially be the starting defensive tackle. He will now be a starter in every game. There is no sitting this guy. There is no starting a guy like Adams over him or anything like that. This is the starter. This is one of your starting defensive linemen. But the reason we say increased role is because there was talks of it last year, and we didn't really see it. Last year, Terrell Austin and Carl Dunbar and most of the defensive coaches were saying Keanu Benton will start out as a 2-snap defender on rundowns and in occasional pass rush reps, which we saw. He didn't get a lot of sacks, but like Herbig, dude, the guy is just always getting pressure.
Yeah.
He's always getting hurries. But
let's just say that offensive linemen have trouble with these Badgers.
Dude, I don't know what they put in the Wisconsin cheese, but I mean
they can't contain them.
No, they can't.
And it's great to have on this team.
But he's not just a 2-down defender. He can play all 3 downs, and he should, especially since Hayward and Ogunjobi will be returning. They're aging, but they're also coming with injury concerns. Benton is the young guy. He's the young bull. He's the young piece. He's the fresh body. He's the hungry defender where he, like I think you mentioned it, he lost 10 pounds this offseason.
Yeah.
This guy's going to be more twitch. He's going to be more fluid. He's going to be more quick. Like, the guy is going to be a little more explosive, and he was already explosive enough last year. He was our best defensive lineman.
Yeah, but now that he slimmed down a bit, he lost 10 pounds, but I'm sure he gained some muscle in that regard just as much. With how quick he is, how shifty, the type of bulldozing defender he is on that D-line. I mean, the future is very bright for Ben, and he should absolutely get more reps in there. I feel like he's more than capable of being a 3-down defender, especially with the aging defensive line that we have at the moment.
Like, I don't want to see him as the starting defensive tackle. That's where he'll be because the DN stars is obviously Ogunjobi and Hayward. I want to see him eventually transition into the starting interior defensive end position, the defensive lineman position, not just as the nose, not just as the tackle, where he comes in on rundowns and fills the gaps, right? He can do it, but he's worth more than that. He needs more playing time than that. He can play anywhere from the 3 to 5 tech. He can do it all. Mm-hmm. The guy's a freak. The guy was making plays in the defensive line group, and same thing with Herbig. A year under his belt, more playing time, more responsibility. He will now be the pure starter on the defensive line. Give him the 3-down potential that we know he has. Let him play. He even said himself, he can't even see his ceiling, dude. It's up there, but he can't see it. He's all about work.
Yeah,
He's all
keeping
about-
his head down and just working, just getting on the grind.
Yeah.
That's the type of mentality you want, man. That's the type of mentality you would love to have on any football team.
Yeah, so Benton, the reason we put him on this list is because he will see an increased role. He will be the pure starter now, and he should get 3 down reps for this defensive line.
Yeah, just feed Benton, man. It's Big Bully Benton time, the triple B.
Yeah, let the guy eat, man. Let the guy cook. Let the guy work. So we're going to put Keanu Benton in this list. And finishing off here, we got to mention cornerback. Corey Trice and Darius Rush. We'll put them both in kind of the same tier here. Reason being is because we don't have any cornerback depth. We brought back Cam Sutton. He'll probably be the slot corner, as he should be, and he could potentially work outside in certain sub packages and some dime or nickel sub packages they want to run, right? But you know, when you're thinking of where Sutton should be placed, it's primarily in the slot.
Yes.
But I don't think he'll get that job immediately. So going back to Darius Rush, I think Rush will get an opportunity to work for that slot position. Even if he doesn't get the starting slot position, he'll probably compete with like a Sutton or a Casey or a Beanie Bishop.
Right.
You know, I think those are the 4 guys that could be competing for that nickel position. But even, let's say Sutton, you know, is the starting guy. Then we still need someone to work in dime packages. We're going to need a 6 defensive back for the dime. That could be anyone. That could be Casey. That could be Rush. That could be Bishop. That could be Trice. So that's where these guys are going to have to find time to play in this starting lineup on the defense. Otherwise, yeah, there'll be special teams guys. There'll be special teams demons. That's where they're going to see a majority of the playing time. But like, who could really step up and try to get playing time in sub package, in some nickel packages for this defense? You know, Corey Trice, you know, there's still a lot of hope. There's still a lot of hype over him being a 7th rounder and the value we got out of him last year. Clearly, he didn't play at all in his rookie season because he got hurt, and that's still the concern.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, I would like to see what he could do with the pads on in an actual game. I'm looking forward to that if he stays healthy. And Darius Rush didn't see a lot of time, but when he did, it was primarily in the slot in the Colts game. So those are 2 guys that the Steelers are going to lean on. Otherwise, they would have brought in extra bodies.
Yeah, of course. You know, these are 2 rookies last year that the Steelers have. They selected Trice. They brought in Rush, who was on 2 practice squads, was the Colts and the Chiefs. He was brought in as an extra body because of the injuries in the secondary. But these are 2 guys that are raw prospects, but the potential is up there. It's just up for them to grab that brass ring, to reach that ceiling, to really showcase the potential that some people saw back in their college days last offseason.
Right. No, because when you look at our defensive back, or when you look at our cornerbacks last year, it was Pat Pete, Levi Wallace, who are both gone, Joey Porter Jr., who will now be the cornerback 1. We brought in Dante Jackson. We brought back Cam Sutton. But, you know, you look at some of those guys that left, you know, that's why Trice and Rush is on our list, because they will be depended on a little more.
Yeah, because James Pierre, who was a special teams ace for us at cornerback and that primary rotational backup, he's now with the Commanders. So it's up to Rush and or Trice to really fill that role that Pierre kind of left open.
Yeah. You know, they're also going to have to compete with another 7th rounder, Ryan Watts, as well.
Of course.
There's a lot of hunky guys in that room. You know, they're depending on some uncertainty there, but, you know, that's what the opportunity is all about.
It is.
So that's what camp is for. That's what this opportunity is for. Let's see which some of these guys could take and run with it. So, you know, we are a month and some change away from training camp, but that's why this is exciting to see what these guys can do. The Steelers are leaning and are going to be leaning on these guys for a certain reason. Let's see if these guys can step up to the plate. That's what that's all about, man. So these are the guys that could be seeing an increased role and more dependability regarding the Steelers this upcoming season. And I think a lot of these guys can run away with it. I think a lot of these guys could take the opportunity, man.
Yeah, the potential level is unreal. It's ridiculous, honestly, you know, based off the value and, you know, the minimal highlights, even in limited reps that some of these guys did, you know, like. Yeah. The ceiling is very high for these guys.
Yeah, very minimal. And, you know, it is a little crazy to lean on that and think of, hey, they can be certain pieces. But that's what I'm going to do. And clearly that's what the Steelers are going to do as well.
It's a big opportunity for these guys. What they've shown in limited reps, you know, let's see if they can actually do it with a more significant role. And it's up for them to really showcase that in training camp, just a little over a month away.
Yeah.
And to really showcase that on that football field when game time comes around.
Absolutely, man. This is the year to do it, and I'm feeling pretty solid about some of our depth guys. I can't wait to see what they do on the field. But let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Is there any other names we might have missed that you guys want to add to the list? Feel free to put that in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!